Rec League Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public Breaker, and Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. At Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 32 available now. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram or YouTube itself. What up, world? So it's the end of the year, man. We made it to another year. We made it to the end of a decade. A lot of good movies, man. A lot of crap came out. A lot of good movies on Netflix, man. Like, that's my biggest flaw, is keeping up with new Netflix movies. I saw like the 2, maybe 3 that I really wanted to see the most. But, yeah, 3. But, and I know in my most anticipated video this year, I gave y'all 5 honorable mentions. I couldn't narrow it down, man. Like, I was hyped for a lot of movies this year, as opposed to next year, which you'll see in a couple days. I easily knocked out down to 3 honorable mentions. But my list is intact. It's in stone. And that's what's dope about the fourth quarter. You really, aside from Star Wars, Frozen, you really didn't know what was coming out in the fourth quarter this year. At honorable mention number 1, which is basically 13, I got Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I'm not the biggest Star Wars geek, man, so I can loosely go in, have fun with a movie, and walk out without, any, oh my gosh, I can't believe this and I can't believe that, and how dare J.J. Abrams. I had fun. I loved Rey's arc. I loved Kylo Ren's arc. I like what they did with this movie to close out the Skywalker saga. I'm probably going to see it again in the theater, and it's probably going to be the first movie I see of 2020 in the theater. At honorable mention number 2, I got Us. Jordan Peele's sophomore effort, and it was great. I don't particularly think it's better than Get Out, but it's by percentage points. I was in the hospital when this movie came out too. That's another video. So I saw this the same weekend I saw Dumbo. Lupita Nyong'o deserves all of the awards recognition, but probably due to the release date and how early it came out in the year, she's probably going to get overlooked. The story was real cool, like the Easter eggs and details was real cool. Like Jordan Peele showed out as far as the attention to detail and the story, and the child actors were great. Winston Duke, I hope, gets a lot more work. Yeah, like this was a real creepy, a very dope movie. I rewatched it in October. And I want to watch it again. I can't wait to see what Jordan Peele does next. Blade. At honorable mention number 1, I'm a little shocked at myself that it's this low. But, when you like something, you like something. So I liked movies more than this. Obviously, 10 movies more than this. So I got to keep it real. At honorable mention number 1, I got Spider-Man: Far From Home. And Spider-Man's my all-time favorite Marvel character, too. Tom Holland kind of goes through what Tobey Maguire went through in his sequel, just wanting to be a kid. They're going on this vacation, and he doesn't want to be Spider-Man. But then, there's a need for Spider-Man. Nick Fury finds him, tracks him down, and he has to team up with Mysterio to defeat these like Earth-made creatures, the Elementals. The Eternals comes out in November. The Elementals are the rock and lava and water creatures from this movie. Man, it was really dope, man. Tom Holland is still my favorite Spider-Man and Peter Parker. It was cool finally seeing Nick Fury interact with Spider-Man. You want to see how Spider-Man especially is going to move around, especially with all the drama with Spider-Man this year, man. We want to know how Spider-Man is going to operate in a world where, in a post-Endgame world, in case you haven't seen Avengers Endgame. And Jake Gyllenhaal, one of my favorite actors, was great as Mysterio. And this was this was probably a good top 2 or 3 like Spider-Man finale. And this movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, has the, without a doubt, the best mid-credit scene in any MCU movie. At number 10, another movie that, if you know me, it's shocking that it's this low, and that's Toy Story 4. It goes somewhere new. New characters are introduced. There are crossroads that must be acknowledged. Everybody loves Forky. Um, the very beginning has a very cool moment, and the villain isn't Sid or Prospector or Lotso. Like, there's some emotion that comes with the villain. Um, and there are like, and it ends like Toy Story 3 hit me emotionally. No lie, it just did. This one does too, in a completely different way. Um, See, I don't want to go too much into spoiler territory because these movies are still freshly released, but they are available on demand, on Blu-ray, DVD. Um, this is my favorite animated franchise, man. And on one hand, like, especially after Toy Story 3, I know the world was like, okay, cool, perfect trilogy. We don't need a fourth. And now that the fourth one has come and gone, okay, perfect, what, quartet? We don't need a fifth. I can't say I wouldn't be interested if they decided to do Toy Story 5, though. If they did, though, how? Like, how would they do Toy Story 5? At number 9, I got Ford versus Ferrari. Um, Another one that I thought I was recently going to talk about in my 3 favorite movies of the quarter video. Didn't happen. But, again, like, a moment in history. James Mangold's first movie post Logan. Matt Damon gives a great performance. Christian Bale gives a great performance. The racing is intense. The story is interesting. And it's clearly one of my favorite movies all year, but I think it's one that I would hope everybody would go check out. At number 8, I got A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And it's not a Mr. Rogers biopic. It's about a dude who works for a newspaper or a magazine. I'm not quite remembering what he worked for, where he worked for, but it's the story of him interviewing Mr. Rogers, and he's got this like cynical outlook on everything, and Mr. Rogers is like the nicest guy alive. And I think like that's why I think Tom Hanks was like the perfect actor to get cast to play Mr. Rogers, because he's kind of like the nicest dude alive. Um, and he kills it. Like, I love Tom. Like, Tom Hanks doesn't really look like Mr. Rogers, and that's fine because his performance, he becomes Mr. Rogers. It's really good. And this is one that I'd never expected to like as much as I did, but I loved this movie. At number 7, I got It Chapter 2, probably my first controversial pick, and it's long. It's not Avengers Endgame long. It's definitely not The Irishman long, but it's long. It's for a horror movie. It's long, and Bill Skarsgård still gives that haunting, eerie performance as Pennywise. But it has its moments of humor. I think, I wanted, like, my fan cast for the Lucky Seven for the Losers Club was way too expensive. Like I talked to Warner Brothers and they wouldn't approve all of them, so they gave me Jessica Chastain and they gave me Bill Hader. I wanted Patrick Wilson as Bill. I wanted Chris Pratt as a haystack. What's his name? Ben. I wanted Chadwick Boseman as Mike, and Jake Gyllenhaal, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That was my fan cast. Like Jay Ryan, James Ransone, Isaiah Mustafa, um, Andy Bean. Like they killed it. Like I think looking at this cast, it was perfect for what Andy Muschietti wanted to do, and it's not as book accurate for the adult story as I would have liked, but as a companion piece to the first It movie, I think this is as perfect as this story could have concluded. Like, stuff was copied, lifted, pasted, done out of order as far as the book, but once again, if you watch the first movie and then the second movie back to back. It's a good 5.5 hours of movie watching straight. I don't know if there's a better horror story with that long a runtime that you can find, man. Like, I think this is as perfect as a representation of the novel as we could have gotten. At number 6, I got Zombieland Double Tap. Like I said again in my 3 favorite movies of the quarter video, this is one of those comedies that took way too long to come out, but this is one of those rare comedies that feels like it came out right after the first one. Like, the cast chemistry is great. Zoe Dutch is added as like the perfect spark of energy, and they do new stuff. Like, it's not a rehash of the first movie. I can't express how pleased I was watching Zombieland Double Tap. At number 5, I got John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Again, it's kind of as perfect or as good of a third movie in an action franchise as anybody could have imagined. Like, everybody, when this movie was coming out, everybody was looking up what Parabellum meant. That was in May. I forgot by now. John Wick kills it, no pun intended. There are great fight scenes, great shootouts. Sacrifices are made. Halle Berry's in like 2 scenes, and those are 2 of the most memorable scenes in the movie. It sets up a 4th one that's coming out in May of 2021. The Matrix is going to come out in like 4th of July weekend, November 2021. The Matrix 4 is going to move from that weekend. Like, this does everything to keep you invested. It doesn't let the series run dry. It stays interesting. And this is, if you're not a comic book movie guy, I know I've said it a million times this year, if you're not a comic book movie guy, the John Wick franchise is where you want to go to get your action fix. At number 4, I got Uncut Gems. I just saw this like a week ago. Knocked me out. Adam Sandler, like, I hate calling back to that, but like I said in my 3 favorite movies of this quarter video, the way everybody's all over Adam Sandler, oh my gosh, Punch Drunk Love this, Punch Drunk Love that. Punch Drunk Love is not where I go to say Adam Sandler can act, man. If you want to see Adam Sandler and he can act, man, watch Uncut Gems, man. Like, it's a 2-hour ball of anxiety. It has the feel of a mob movie. And the ending blindsided me. Like, I was invested from start to finish. There was never a dull moment in this movie. I loved every second of it. At number 3, I got Joker. Again, I was surprised. Again, Her is not the movie that I go to say Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. Joaquin Phoenix killed it, committed, and gave like one of his best performances ever in Joker. You see the character study, you see the twists and the turns, and you're caught off guard so many times by what's going on in this movie, man. Like, I loved it. I don't want Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix to do another one of these. Like, it's great as its own like contained character study. I would like to see other DC villains, I guess, get their own type of movie like this, but on its own. And I love that Robert De Niro did a comic book movie. Again, like Uncut Gems, the ending just caught me so off guard. Like, I was shocked. I loved it. And it comes on Blu-ray in a couple weeks, and I'm ready to buy it. At number 2, I got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tarantino never fails to amaze me. He's my all-time favorite director. He takes true events, puts his own flavor in them, and the way that's what I'm saying. Like, the last few movies I've mentioned, the ending has just been such a surprise and like elevated my love for what I had already watched. DiCaprio kills it, Brad Pitt kills it, Margot Robbie kills it. There might be some complaints about how much screen time she has, but this movie is great, man. I want to watch it again as soon as I can. And I like, if Tarantino is really gonna retire after his next movie, I'm really, really anxious to see what he's gonna do next. And then my number one, man, my favorite movie on this list, my favorite movie on my favorite movies of the year list, might not be the best, might not be the most well made, but it left me the most satisfied. And that's Avengers Endgame. Like, how could it not be? Um, Especially after the way that Infinity War ended. Um, you got all the heroes, you got the plan, you got the humor. You might cry about the way that the time travel was executed, or it's all the fan service. Oh my god! But I was satisfied. There are so many moments that I cheered out loud in the theater. I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, and I want to watch it again. Like Captain Marvel, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Avengers. Like I want to rewatch all the MCU movies from this year. But man, due to, like I mentioned earlier, due to some personal medical issues, I wasn't able to catch Captain Marvel a second time in the theater. I multiple viewed Avengers and Spider-Man: Far From Home though, and man, if this is it for like Downey and Chris Evans and whoever else was affected, if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, like this was like the best way to go out. Like highest grossing movie of all time. Round two with Thanos. Um, the jokes hit. The fight scenes are good. It's again, like I said about other movies on this list, man, I was invested from the first frame till this movie didn't have a post credit scene, but for me wasting my time sitting through the credits just in case there was a post credit scene, I was locked in. So, what were some of your favorite movies of 2019, man? I can't ramble off 12 months worth of movies, but you know what you liked. So let me know, man. Let me know what movies you loved throughout the year. Let me know what you like. I don't know what you're disappointed I didn't talk about, man, because like Knives Out barely missed the cut. The Irishman barely missed the cut. Shazam barely missed the cut. El Camino. Three Netflix movies that I wanted to see that I made sure I saw this year were Dolomite Is My Name, El Camino, and The Irishman. The Irishman was an honorable mention on my most anticipated list. I I didn't love it like I wanted to. I really liked it. I just didn't love it like I wanted to. Um, my three favorite movies. I know I've dropped that multiple times in this video, but my three favorite movies of fourth quarter just got posted. My most anticipated is about to get posted. A Blu-ray collection update is about to get posted, man. Be on the lookout for all of that. Like, subscribe, comment. Find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me. Watch these credits. Peace.